Hey out there, this is Bruce, Uncle Bruce. I'm going to show you how to do a 2-page executive summary that'll help you get interest from your investors. That's the most important thing. It's not for you, it's not for me, it's not for your grandmother, it's for the investors. Don't spend a lot of time on a giant business plan, because what happens is by the time you get it to the investors, they're not going to care much about it because it's all going to be changed anyway. So chum the waters, get those sharks interested, get a little bit of money from them, keep them interested, and maybe you'll get a little more money as it goes on. So that's what you want to do. Look, we have a very nice program that follows. It gives you financial statements, but we don't need to do that today. We just want a 2-pager to test the interest level. So look, here's what we got. You can read all this stuff another time. Here's our brand new logo. We're trying to make this thing look cool and sharp, and I think it does. We've got 2 lovely websites that you can go see. And the first thing you need to do is you need to type your name in. Of course, me being Bruce, Uncle Bruce, I use BruceCo. And you can see that BruceCo is right down here at the top of the summary of the opportunity. Now look, at the top of this thing, write your vision and your mission statement. Can't be very big because we don't give you much of a space. And then write your summary of the opportunity. We give you 2 nice big paragraphs or sections. Put those in there. Write them up in Microsoft Word if you find that easier, and then just cut and paste it in this thing. Now look, the fun comes in another minute here. That's where we get into the actual deal making. It's called the proposed investment in common shares. Now I'm going to zero all these things out so that we have a clean slate. And then we're going to fill the numbers back in, and you're going to see how easy it is. Now before we do this, I want to show you that there's a little drop-down box up here. If you use it, it'll take away all the helpful hints. It makes it look cleaner, but I think it's important right now for you all to see the help. So it comes in red and you'll see all this. All right, so here's what we're going to do first. How much money have you put in the deal? Let's say $10,000. Now over here are 2 changeable line items, and you can put in whatever you want to add into your pre-money value. We want to make this big. Remember, big pre-money value is good for you. So let's put in this case I had some website software. Let's say, you got $80,000 worth of software and designs and really cool stuff. Then you've got some other intangible values, chief of which might be some people. I'm going to go to the spinner that goes faster. And let's say you got $720,000 worth of people and ideas and inside action, et cetera, et cetera. So you got pre-money value of $810,000. Now it's pink for a reason, because we haven't put anything in over here. We still need to award you some shares, so let's assume that they're 2 cents a share, but if you don't like that, you can change it. How about 1.94? That's pretty good, or actually 0.194. So that's 515,464 shares. That's okay. We have to have an option pool in case you screw up. Guess what? The investors may throw you out. They got to reward the next guy coming in, and that's what's going to be given the option pool. It doesn't necessarily get used, only in an emergency. So let's put a 20% option pool. Cost is the right-hand one here, so let's make it $300 just for grins. All right, this is the key one. This is where the deal making starts. But before we do that, we probably ought to ask the investors for a certain amount of money. So let's say we want $700,000. We can make it $550. I don't care, whatever's good. Now, notice that when we start cranking in a pre-money value, that the price of the investor's share starts to move. And the bigger this number gets, the bigger this number gets. What that means, if you watch over here, I'm going to continue to go up. See, there's fewer and fewer shares. Why? Of course, because if you have the constant of $550,000 and you continually raise the price, guess what? You're going to get fewer shares. Makes sense, right? Of course. Hey. All right, so now let's go back down, because you're not going to do a deal where you think you're worth 810 and the investors come and say, we think you're worth 1.2 million. It's going to be the other way. So let's put it back down to say, try 600,000. Now, when we look up here, we can see that the founder is red. That means he's lost control, 47.6 versus 52.4. This is voting control. Over here is the diluted ownership. Now notice this number here is a little bit less than this, as is this a little less than that. That's because you got the options. You assume that the options exercise into common shares. So this calculation is a as if or pro forma. Now, let's sell the business sometime in the future. So let's sell it for, I don't know, how about 5.5 million bucks? Now look what happens here. This happens to be the investment multiple. And of course the founders make out like grease lightning because they didn't put very much money in it, and they sell it off, and this is their share. So he says founder share and the investor share. So the other point is that the investor has a okay rate of return, internal rate of return, which is time contingent. Watch what happens when you sell this thing in year one. Well, man, the returns, the internal rate of return goes way up. So we now know that the longer it takes, the smaller the return on an internal rate of return. Notice that whenever you sell it for the same price, it never changes the investment multiple. So we have this great little calculator. What you really want to do is you want to try to get this as big as possible. And let's see if we can crank it up a little bit more. Maybe we get to 51%. There we go. So maybe we'll get lucky and they do say 700,000. Doesn't affect the returns all that much, but you maintain control. Now another little thing I want you to see, this thing's called an investment summary. It's a concatenated statement. And the concatenated statement allows you to weave words and numbers together. And you can see that when we change, for instance, the price, that you'll see some numbers changing. And if we change the investor, see all that's starting to change. So you don't have to write this. It's all automatic. Now, I know we've changed the numbers, but it doesn't make any difference. What we have down here now is a capitalization table. There are just three components: the investor, the founders, and the option pool. And as you go across, you'll see that it shows you the valuation, the investment, the shares issued, the share price, the post money, the exit value, the I multiple, and the internal rate of return. It's that simple. So the last thing that happens, which I'm not going to show you because you can do it, is to print the darn thing. And you can print it using Excel. And don't forget to set the name of the company in the bottom left-hand portion of the footer. Right now it just says enter your company name. Well, that's not a likely name of a company. So there you have it, folks. SharkCapTable. And this is the 2-page executive summary when you acquire for just $75 SharkCapTable 3 Fin. And you get it at SharkCapTable.com. Thanks very much. If you run into some problems, email me, Bruce, B-R-U-C-E, at FSER.net. Stands for First Sovereign Equity Research. And remember, Feezer rhymes with geezer, and I'm your Uncle Geezer. Bye!